My fellow Kenyan, do you know that it's not coincidental that BBC I released the Blood Parliament documentary few days before Fred Matiang'i making a political comeback? Do you also know that it's also not by mere coincidence that Fred Matiang'i has been working at the World Bank? Listen, if you remember pretty well, towards the 2022 general election, President William Samoei Ruto had the full support of the IMF, of the World Bank, and the West was extensively behind and rallying behind President William Samoei Ruto. And guess what? He won the election with the resurgence of one Fred Okengo Matiang'i. I honestly see a string of possibilities that the same script is about to repeat itself. And with Matiang'i's grand return, I honestly anticipate that it's not only going to be very detrimental to President William Samoei Ruto, but also to the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And this is because, as we speak, one thing I know for a fact is that Fred Okengo Matiang'i has already technically reduced Raila's bargaining power, because he sees are likely to support a son of their own. And of course, we know for a fact that the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga has always been bargaining for handshakes using numbers, and by the kisses backing Fred Okengo Matiang'i, that is already Raila's influence technically reduced. However, if Fred Okengo Matiang'i consolidates the entire Kisii votes, then that shall automatically deter President William Samoei Ruto from any political persecutions against Matiang'i. And of course, if he dares, it's automatically likely to be seen as political witch hunt against the Kisses. With the current political dispensation, if you have been looking at how things have been unfolding, the Luos are fully consolidated under the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. The Kalenjin are fully consolidated under President William Samoei Ruto. The Kisses are currently consolidated under Fred Okengo Matiang'i, and the Mount Kenya region is currently fully consolidated under the Murima Crusader. Luyas, on the other hand, are fully consolidated under George Natembea, and that drives me to the point that when I tell you our politics are tribal in nature, are you honestly going to dispute my statement? Remember, tribalism was part of the 11 accounts that did make the former deputy president be impeached. So, what do you have a word on these tribal realignments? Essentially, by these communities backing a son of their own from each and every region, what I know is that they are technically trying to galvanize their communities, thus increasing their bargaining power with whoever shall be declared the victor in the next general election. But again, having all these presidential ambitions and candidates in place, we shouldn't forget, I repeat, we shouldn't forget that it may be the big boys' strategies so that no contester can reach the 50% plus one votes, thus forcing the 2027 general election into a rerun. How I wish that this could be another opportunity for my people too, from here at the coast, to nurture and front their own leader, because communities across the country have already begun regrouping. And if we regroup, then that is likely to mark the genesis of bringing to an end Odingaism. That is why I previously said the the broad-based government brought more harm than good to the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And we will be here to witness Raila's downfall unless he decides to bolt out of President William Samoei Ruto's led administration. But with all that at hand, I'd wish to beg the question, will you vote for one Fred Okengo Matiang'i to unseat President William Samoei Ruto, or you will not vote to his advantage just because you see him as an extension of the status quo? And the second and last question is, will you vote for one Fred Okengo Matiang'i because he is the best preferred candidate to unseat President William Samoei Ruto, or you will vote to his disadvantage just because you see the global powers long game plan? You can just feel free to drop your comments in the comment section, and of course I am just going to give them a right of reply. And as I come to the penultimate part of this episode, that has just been my opinion. If by any chance you do have a contrary opinion to mine, you can as well just feel free to drop them in the comment section, and I'll give them a right of reply. Thank you, and may God bless you.